All right, hey everybody. Guess who I'm here today with? I'm very happy to be here in Atlanta today and meet Stephen Fredrick. Stephen, thanks for coming down here. We're playing a show tonight, I know, and it's always good to see you whenever we pass through Atlanta.
Yes.
And you know, so many years later, you know, I've done a lot of interviews, obviously, for the records and our career and stuff, and people always ask me about you. And you've been a very private guy, obviously, and you know,
yes.
You don't give interviews, you know, very often.
Hardly ever.
Yeah. So this is basically the first kind of like appearance of you and me,
Yeah.
like side by side, you know, talking, and you know,
About the good old days.
about the good old days, because this year we have the 20th anniversary of Between Heaven and Hell, the debut album.
Man.
And yeah, I mean, I would just wanted to ask you basically, what do you remember from those days? If there are any memories specifically, like when you first got the demos through, I guess, David Chastain, or that's how it happened, from what I remember.
Yes, I would get the material. He put a lot of the material on a CD
Right.
for me in those days. And I would study them and dissect them and come up with ideas. And maybe every now and then I think he would give me an idea of a title. Or
Some of the songs
what you were thinking,
Some of the songs,
but no lyrics.
Yeah.
And I'd take off with that title.
Yeah.
And I know I'd write these songs in the damnedest places. So some of the lyrics I'd be just cruising down the highway and it would come to me and I would actually dictate or sing into another recording device of some kind. I guess the favorite story is we had a deadline on two of the tunes at Chastain's studio, which was also basically out in the country.
Right.
In a great little studio. And I actually bought a couple of bottles of beer, pulled into a dirt road, sat on the tailgate of my pickup truck, and wrote two of the songs about an hour before we had to go record them.
Wow.
And it turned out to be some of our best tunes.
Which ones? Do you remember which ones it was?
Brother's Keeper, which is on the next album.
Yeah, the Burning Earth album. The other one, do you remember or no?
Actually, I don't remember. I just know.
Okay.
It might have been I Will Stand Alone.
I Will Fight Alone.
I Will Fight Alone.
Yeah. Those two songs are actually some of the most standout tracks.
Yeah, it might have been on that particular recording. But anyway, it was still the same studio with Chastain, and the way we did things. I'd be in the damnedest places with a boombox.
So basically, you would play the CD in your pickup truck, and then, like, if you got an idea, you would record yourself singing over the CD in the boombox.
That's what I would do, just to be out tooling around. You know? That's the easiest way for me, because I'd have the levels just like I like, and then I could go back and we'd go back to Chastain and say, "Here's what I was thinking."
Right.
And then we'd do it for real.
Awesome, man. So, I mean, I remember back then, because I was a fan of yours since the albums that you did with Kensington. And I remember when I first heard you with Kensington, I was like, man, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Like, I have not heard a voice like that since so many years. And then I remember when I started sending my demos to Chastain and Leviathan, and I said, you know, we got to find a singer for you, man. He said, you can't do instrumental stuff. Back then, nobody played instrumental guitar and stuff. It was not fashionable at all. Guitar solos were not fashionable at all. Everything changed in the middle of the 2000s, to be honest. So, but I didn't care. I just did my thing. And I remember, like, hey, do you think, I said to David, I said, do you think Stephen Fredrick would be interested in it? He said, I don't know, I'll pass him some of your demo and see what he thinks.
Yeah, and I jumped on it.
When I first, when he told me, when he got back to me, he said, yeah, Stephen is into it, man. He liked the demos. I was ecstatic. I'm like, wow, and I have great vocals on this album.
Yeah, well, you were hitting the melodies that I wanted to hear, you know. It talked to me, and it was perfect in that I love the tunes. When we went to record, I hated that a lot of singers would pull out all the tricks.
Yeah.
All the effects and all that. There's no effects on the vocals that I did for your records.
I know.
I did all the high notes, all that somewhat gruff, almost gothic stuff I did. That was not trick. That was my voice.
I know, man.
And I had a wonderful time doing that because, hell, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, wow.
And that's when we did it. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, you had a remarkable vocal range, and I know that because I have the vocal tracks, the rough tracks, you know, and the masters, and I know it's you, and I know how you pulled it off in the studio, and it's like incredible. So, and it did make a difference, you know, like the.
It did. It had that recording, the first album had an impact.
It did.
It was remarkable.
And another thing, it was a very low budget record, so I recorded the guitars in my bedroom basically with a borrowed mic and a borrowed amp from a friend. And obviously I have no engineering skills, so I was recording my guitar out of phase, and that gave that special character to the guitar tone on the first album by accident. You know, I didn't know. In reality, I was making a mistake. You know? So, but yeah, it was a good time. Hey man, I just want to thank you very much for your contribution to the band, to the early years.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this here. I'm sure the fans are going to love it to see you here finally, talking about your experience, you know, on those records.
Yes.
And yeah, guys, check out the 20th anniversary edition of Between Heaven and Hell, which is out now.
Yeah.
All right.